So thank you all for coming here this morning. I appreciate that some of you have travelled significant distances really to be here to add your views and your voices to the political discourse in the island, and for that I'm genuinely grateful. It seems appropriate that we're gathered here in the Société Gérieuse, an organisation that's played an important part as one of Jersey's longest serving academic institutions. Often the Société looks at the past, but I think it's superb that we're here to discuss the future today. Of course, the reality, the one truth about the future is that nobody knows the future. However, we all, I can guarantee you, have different perspectives on it. And this conference is aimed at bringing a range of perspectives together to the offshore wind farm discussion. So it's with this in mind, I thought it would be helpful to give you all the perspective from the Government of Jersey's point of view and a brief overview of where we currently are, as well as my own perspective. It's particularly important to state from the outset that the principal driver for an offshore wind farm is economic. This is why it features in the Future Economy programme, which for those of you who aren't familiar is a strategy for dealing with the enormous economic challenge that the island faces. That challenge, in short, is the increasing age of the population. Excuse me. Which means that in order to simply maintain our current standard of living, just to maintain our current standard of living, we need to reverse and massively increase economic output per person. So you need to reverse a decline in productivity and massively increase economic output per person. Or the alternative is to maintain that standard of living. We'll have to open the doors to somewhere between 30 and 50,000 people by 2040. That's just 15 years away. These points are crucially important to understand because they show that the principal driver of an offshore wind farm is economic rather than environmental, or about energy sovereignty. It doesn't mean that these other factors won't be involved in the chosen strategic approach, but they are not the primary factors. This is clearly stated in the 2023 analysis of the economic potential of the project. That same analysis explained that we had looked at several possible renewable energy technologies before landing on a wind farm as the most commercially viable, least risky, and to date, the most proven. This is the start of a journey into renewable energy, and other technologies may well have a place in the future. But we need to move fast, and we don't have time to waste. So we've chosen what we believe to be the route that has the highest chances of success and the commensurate greatest economic output. Right now, we are undertaking an in-depth strategic analysis to determine what form the wind farm should take and where its power should be destined to land. It is by no means determined that any power from the wind farm will land in Jersey. To do so, in fact, may have a significant detrimental impact on energy prices, which in this island are much lower. It may not always feel like it, but the energy prices in this island are much lower than almost any other place in Europe. We also benefit from the low carbon nature of the energy generated by nuclear fusion across the water in Flamanville, and tidal energy generated by the Rance barrage in Ille-et-Vilaine, meaning that if Jersey was to plug itself into the wind farm, it wouldn't actually be reducing carbon emissions from Jersey. It'd be substituting one source of low carbon energy for another. That said, we're operating this project on an evidence-based approach, and so the strategic analysis will inform us of the best destination for the power generated. And in doing so, it will take into account the potential impact on energy prices in Jersey. So I'm speaking in advance of that report, which is being compiled at the moment and will be published later this year. So to that, from that perspective, at the moment, I can only speak about my own personal analysis so far. In my view, the opportunity that the wind farm truly delivers is the opportunity for significant economic growth and, most importantly, highly productive economic growth. Our first analysis, which was very high level, estimates that £200 million of energy could be sold to the European grid every year. Guernsey's undertaken its own separate analysis and comes up with similar figures. It doesn't matter whether you think climate change is real or not. This is simple supply and demand economics. We know Europe wants renewable energy, and we know that Jersey could be in a position to sell them some. That's the opportunity. And in my view, it's an opportunity that we cannot afford to slow down progress on. if we want to take advantage of it. We've seen in the shape of the many hospital project debacs over the last 15 years, how a good plan can be derailed by the quest for a perfect plan. And the result in that scenario is that islanders get nothing. This is not an acceptable way of determining the island's future. Today, wind power stands as the most viable economic growth enabler that the island has outside of the finance sector. As other technologies become commercially viable, we will, I have no doubt, look at generating with them too. This is definitely not a case of wind power and nothing else. What we cannot afford to do is say no to wind, and then say no to solar, and then say no to tidal, and then say no to nuclear, just because somebody always has a better plan at the time. Over time, we could potentially say yes to all of them. The demand for electricity is only going to rise across Europe, and it would be incredibly foolish of us, in my opinion, to turn down the opportunity to use our natural resources to become a significant energy exporter. In an island that desperately needs to increase its economic output, whilst minimising the growth of its population, renewable energy is a huge opportunity, and wind power is rightly Jersey's starting point. So, it's with that in mind, I'd like to thank you all for coming this way to learn about Jersey's opportunity. I'm keen to learn about other technologies, I always am, but I'm not keen to debate climate change, the merits of oil and gas or other technologies, except as they can help us plot a longer-term future. Jersey literally cannot afford to pass up the chance to get involved in an energy revolution that will see the demand for carbon-free electricity soar. And I'm grateful for you to adding to that discussion and helping us move forward with an offshore wind farm. Thank you and enjoy the day.